Sports of any kind evolve over time. Adjusting rules and regulations allow us to have a fairer and more competitive sport, along with attracting major sponsorship deals and massive spectator support. MMA has come a long way from each of its original martial arts disciplines, and over the past 10 years has caught on fire to be the #1 ranked combat sport in the world. Today, I'll be training with a man who has been there from the very first spark. UFC lightweight champion, Jens Pulver.
Mixed martial arts, more commonly known as MMA, is a full-contact combat sport that combines techniques from a diverse range of combat disciplines. MMA was originally promoted as a competition with the intention of finding the most effective martial arts for real unarmed combat situations. It sees its athletes use a combination of traditional boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai and wrestling to defeat their opponents in the octagon or arena. The sport has seen a massive increase in popularity with the exponential growth of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, or UFC, which now rivals boxing and wrestling in pay-per-view ratings. With massive revenues, sponsorship deals and prize money on offer, elite fighters from all walks of life, disciplines of training and corners of the globe have been attracted to UFC with dreams of becoming the ultimate champion. Jens Pulver, nicknamed Lil Evil, is the youngest ever fighter to become UFC lightweight champion of the world. After officially retiring from combat sports in 2014, Jens made the long journey to Australia to host the Wimp to Warrior TV series and has invited Matt on the set to see what MMA is all about.
I've arrived in the Sydney suburb of Brookvale and I've headed on in to the Wimp to Warrior gym, where I meet up with Jens Pulver and his strength coach, Thiago. So we're lucky enough to be down here at the Wimp to Warrior Academy down at Brookvale with former UFC champion, Jens Pulver.
How you doing, my friend?
Very well. Thank you for having us, man. And your assistant?
Yeah, this is my partner, Thiago Soldier, Thiago Teixeira. He's been just, I don't even know how to say it, the fountain of youth to me and helped me with my footwork, my agility, my stability. Personally, he's given me back so many years that I've lost with stiffness and the inability to really move my feet. And he's been that key.
And he's going to be one part of the Hurt deliverer today.
I think he's almost all of the Hurt.
The facility's absolutely amazing. Talk to us what's going on here with the Wimp to Warrior project.
You know, this is something that I remember the first time someone just asked the question, how did this start? How did you and Richie meet? And I think somebody along the line tweeted, oh, you should get Jens Pulver involved in this. And what? Wimp to Warrior, what is it?
The Wimp to Warrior project puts the everyday Joe Blow through 6 months of vigorous MMA training, with the goal to compete in a full-length mixed martial arts contest. The project is the brainchild of CEO Richie Cranny.
The sport itself is growing massively, but it's growing in the fact that it's becoming an armchair sport. So people watch it on TV, but when they see these athletes on TV, they think, there's no way I could ever do that.
This is where Richie Cranny took it upon himself to change the minds of those doubters. To coach these amateur fighters and not only provide them with the necessary tools to compete, but to give them a new lease on life and experience the beautiful side of MMA.
Oh my God, it's the beautiful side of MMA. It's the beautiful side of everything that I love about MMA, and now I get to be able to come over here and do this. And when I got here, I got to look at this facility and I'm just thinking, oh, I mean, they have a cage, that alone, the cage.
Jens is certainly passionate about his sport and he sets a great atmosphere for what's about to come.
When we come back, Matt dives headfirst into MMA training.
I'm in the Sydney suburb of Brookvale, where today I'm gaining an insight into the life of Jens Pulver and what it takes to be a 3-time UFC lightweight champion. So what's our plan today, Thiago?
I always say that we're gonna play, yeah? So when we're working out, we're playing, yeah? Because it is fun. And we're gonna play on the mats, okay? So we're gonna do a lot of drills and agility drills and strength. And also, we're gonna get together and play with head control, leg presses, you know, taking downs and all that. So I'm gonna put it together as a good workout. So we're gonna start here. After that, you guys go to the cage and you get to have a little bit of fun.
By fun, Thiago means getting put through a sparring and grappling round with Jens. But before we go there, we focus on the strength and conditioning training. First up, we get everything moving in the warm-up.
Place your hands to one side, lift your body up, and go to the left.
Thiago has us doing a range of different dynamic warm-ups. And every time we complete one, he has another one, and another one ready to go.
Good, man.
It's hard. With a heart rate of 178 beats per minute already, I'm starting to have doubts if I'm prepared nutritionally for what I'm about to undertake. I'm already starting to feel the fatigue.
As you can see, Thiago, I'm already feeling it just after the warm-up. All right, so what do we got?
So now we're gonna go to the station. So it's a full body workout, working on agility, strength, and specific fighting movements as well, okay? Okay, first one.
The first exercise in Thiago's circuit is the agility ladder.
Stepping side to side, keeping base and changing levels. You go up and down, so nice and quick. Try to work on your speed. As soon as you get here, backward jumps, okay, plyometrics, all the way back. So tap and go, tap and go, tap and go.
Then we move on to 30 seconds of bicep curls and lateral raises. And third is Thiago's knee ride drill.
So you place your knee, you have your neck. So you're gonna go side to side, punch, punch, side to side, punch, punch. Okay? As soon as I say change, what you're gonna do is, the leg that is your base has to go all the way around. You replace your weights on the back.
The fourth exercise is a hip escape maneuver with a 20-kilo plate, followed immediately by a front raise. Then we move on to some weighted squats and lunges. The final two exercises are a shooting takedown lunge under resistance, and then finally, shadow boxing under the guide wire.
Okay, you're working on your shadow boxing and on your footwork, driving that foot.
I'm feeling very fatigued just from the warm-up. I'm going to have to dig really deep to get through this circuit work.
Engage that core. Go! Engage your core, engage your core. Go! Change, Jens, and change map. Let's go, shorts all the way out. Good, good. Diagonal line, Jens. That's 5 seconds. Go! Let's go! Good work, man. Good work, good work. Go, Jens. Go, 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 go. Stop there, guys.
By the time that I'm done with the weighted bag, I'm completely over it. My body is definitely not performing at its optimum. I'm really struggling to release any energy. This could possibly be due to electrolyte depletion. Finally make it to the takedown lunges.
You want to drive, you're working on the power of your back foot, okay? And you drop in your front knee. So when you're shooting, go whoo, and up. And go! Good, man, good work. Good, good, good. Keep your cross. Good.
The few moments of recovery I gained from Thiago explaining the drill was a godsend. It gives me that little nudge to keep going.
And go, good work, man. Forward again, and side. Good.
But by the end of the drill, I am spent. Even the cameraman can see that I'm definitely not feeling my best.
You're right, man.
Good job, great job. Stop there, guys. You're gonna eat all more.
And then, just when I thought we were done, Thiago adds in a cruel set of body weight core exercises. Neither Jens or myself are having fun anymore.
Quick Good Jens, good Jens, good Jens, good Jens. 20 seconds to go.
Done, and not a moment too soon. I need to get on top of my lack of energy, because I've still got a big day in front of me. I take some electrolytes and hope it does the trick.
My head still feels so heavy. Such a weird feeling.
I'm in Brookvale training with three-time UFC lightweight world champion Jens Pulver. His strength coach Thiago has put me through my paces, and while we get a chance to recover, I sit down with Jens and ask a few questions. First of all, how do you get a nickname like Lil Evil?
Ironically, it's got nothing to do with fighting. It was, you know, you start going into training camp and everything's kind of repetitive. You only know the day based on maybe your sparring or your grappling on that day. And so I was just standing there being cranky little Jens with my cup of coffee, and Pat Militis looks up at me and goes, "Ooh, ain't you a little evil bastard this morning?" I go, "Ooh, Little Evil, I like that." He goes, "All right," because you knock out John Lewis and that'll be your nickname. So it ends up now it's 11.5 seconds later, I became Little Evil. There you go. So, but it started out, it's Lil Evil, and then we shortened it down to LIL Evil. So it's actually, it's short for Ooey, Little Evil Bastard.
Today, mixed martial arts is one of the most controlled and regulated sports in the world. With imposed time limits and a set number of rounds, mandatory judges, 5 weight classes, and over 31 other rules regarding how a bout is fought, organisations strive for the highest possible standards. But Jens started fighting well before sanctioned events were a normality, and the competition wasn't always balanced.
Well, when I first started, like I tell anybody, my career is from VHS to Blu-ray. In the beginning, I had to fight 230-pound guys. You know, I mean, there was no weight class at the time. I went around fighting, did the Boss Shooting Invitational, and that was pretty much, that was sanctioned, but there was no time limit. So I had one fight, I think it went 30-some minutes. Oh, it was ridiculous. And I beat this kid 6 ways to Sunday. It looked like someone shot him in the face with a shotgun. And he still got me with a heel hook and done. I mean, I remember fighting on, we used to pull wall mats off and there was no cage. People still fought in boxing rings and we used to fall over the top of those or slide out underneath them. But I think the biggest thing was, again, there was no weight. There was nothing for the little guy. 170 pounds was considered the little guy. So when I say VHS to Blu-ray, I literally fought for a tape. I didn't even fight for money. I fought for the videotape so I could send it off.
It takes hard work for someone to rise from unsanctioned fights all the way to become a world champion. Strict discipline in the areas of training, commitment, and nutrition are the keys to success.
Eating takes on a whole new meaning when you're an athlete or when you're training, and you have to feed your body the vitamins and nutrients that it needs. It boils down to you gotta have your colors. So you need to have your fruits, your vegetables, you gotta have your vitamins A, B, C, D, K, and it's calories consumed, calories burned is how you lose weight.
That's it. So if you eat clean, that's what I believe. If you eat clean, you don't need a diet.
And there's a lot of kids out there that want to get involved, want to be the best of the best, etc. What, I guess, there's some key skills or some key things that these kids should be focusing on so that they can potentially reach their goals?
I think first of all they gotta show up. They gotta come and train. So we always say to the fighters, like, you just fight the way you train. So if you hit it hard, you're gonna fight pretty hard. But if you don't show up, you're full of excuse, or when you're having a hard time, you give up. It's gonna show through. As soon as you get in trouble, you're gonna give up. You will give up. But when you put through hard training sessions, tough training sessions, when you get in the cage and people shark tank you and you feel bad, you wanna quit and you don't quit, you keep going. That's when you change levels. That's when you are different than the others.
I mean, it's really, make it easy for your coaches. All I should do as a coach is give you direction. And from there, you put in the effort. Most people, the only difference between the champion and the everyday, just your average fighter is the work ethic. Yeah, skills can be adjusted. we'll find them, we'll fix them. But if you don't have the heart and you've already got yourself an out, when you walk into that fight, I may have a shoulder injury. Get in there, it gets a little hard, yep, I got a shoulder injury. Man, if I wouldn't have just had that shoulder injury, I'd have won. No, bro, we can tell. You were dead tired, you didn't want this. So again, it really does boil down to the mentality side of it. Like Thiago was saying is, no, we can lead the horse to water, we can't make him drink. Enough said.
Up next, Matt learns that there's a lot to think about when inside the octagon, as Wimp to Warrior CEO Richie Cranny gives him an MMA crash course.
Completed the workout with Thiago and had a chance to sit down with Jens and have a chat. But as with any Search4Hurt episode, it's challenge time. But before I jump into the ring, Richie takes me through some basic tips of how to survive a couple of rounds with Jens.
Yeah, so basically what we're going to do is you're going to spar with Jens.
Yep.
So I'm going to give you some little tactics. I know I've seen you on the show, you've got some good hands, you've got your boxing, but MMA is very different. It's all about angles and distance.
Richie goes on to tell me about the finer details of fighting in the octagon.
In the octagon, you'll see a line inside the cage.
Yep.
And basically when a fight's going, say the fight's very close in terms of scoring,
yep,
one of the scoring criteria is octagon control. And it basically means the person's on the inside, keeping the person on the outside. So it's about keeping the center. Okay. So if you've got the center, you can do anything you want. Once you start pressing someone up against the fence, they're limited for room, very hard to back up for takedowns and for striking. So we're going to talk about foot movement here. We'll look at a couple of takedown defenses and then just staying on the outside of Jens's big left hand.
To say that I'm nervous is an understatement. And it becomes even more daunting when Richie tells me Jens loves to go for the liver shot.
Yeah. So that's one of his favourite shots. So keep your elbow tucked is the key.
I'll be paying special attention to keeping my liver area guarded. And on top of this, Richie also tells me Jens will be looking for the takedown.
The key thing, stay on your feet, stop getting is footwork.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
If you can get good footwork, you can keep them on the outside, defend the takedowns and not get hit so much.
Richie then runs me through all the different techniques I need to utilise to make it through my challenge. And in moments, I've already given up the centre of the ring. Yeah.
So you got to make sure that when you circle, you don't give up your position. So if we hear this position from here, yep, if I start circling from here, you want to try and keep straight. That's it. And that front hand is key, okay? Because that's your range.
As Richie coaches me through it, my confidence in controlling the centre of the octagon grows. I've got the grasp of what it takes to control the centre of the octagon, but now Richie takes me through what happens if I get caught on the cage.
Jens' speciality, this. Yeah, right? He'll just pull you down on the back, and he's going to start doing this.
This is getting a little more complicated than just protecting my liver.
When he's here, he's going to be grabbing around the neck. That neck control is the foot. Is it working? You hear punches. What you've got to try and do is get off the fence.
Okay, yeah.
The most important thing. So you can use angles and feet. There you go.
Richie then shows me the defensive technique of the underhooks.
Any way you want. That's an underhook.
Oh, okay, so you got to be quick to catch it.
Yeah. This is why you want to keep your hands here.
1 minute is here.
Switch. Underhook here.
Another tool in the MMA fighter's arsenal is head control. After a quick demo, all the neck exercises from earlier in the day seems crucial.
Very hard. Here, underhook from here, this position, this sucks. You get it. Yeah.
This has been a lot of information to take on board in what's been a very quick crash course. I'm understanding each of the techniques, but put me under pressure and I don't know if I'm going to be able to implement them on call. The last technique that Richie teaches me is the sprawl, where I fly my legs back, similar to a burpee, and press my hips against the floor in an attempt to cut off Jens's ability to take me down from the legs. And after a few goes at it, I think I've got the sprawl down pat. It's time. I'm as prepared as I'll ever be. To give me any chance of escaping from here without complete embarrassment, we've decided to cut the challenge into two components. First round will be 5 minutes of sparring with gloves. Then we'll move on to a grappling round.
Touch gloves. And go.
I've tried to control the centre, but after Jens's first few jabs, I've been pushed to the outside. He keeps advancing on me, and if I don't fight back, he'll be in complete control. He comes at me again and has a go at finding my liver. Jens goes for the liver again, but in a panic, I lock up with him in a wrestle. He dominates the situation and takes me down. He controls my head with his forearm and starts laying into me. I'm finally able to get back on my feet, but I'm pretty sure that's only because Jens allowed it. I'm trying to land punches, but his speed and agility is just too fast. Defending against him is all I can think about. Again, he goes for the liver. With 30 seconds left, Jens picks up the intensity and he lands a punch that leaves me a little rocked. Then, in the remaining 10 seconds, Jens puts me on the mat once again.
Good.
Oh, look at that.
Recovery, man.
60 seconds.
We have 60 seconds of recovery before we start the grappling round. Round 2. We start, and Jens immediately goes for control of my head. And within seconds, he has me outside the centre and on the ground. Jens is pressing me to the mat with his shoulders, and Richie is continually telling me to keep my chin down to avoid Jens choking me out. But I'm not quick enough, and Jens makes me tap. It's frightening how efficient Jens is at putting me in the exact spot that he wants me. Back up to go again. I go for his legs, and Jens expertly implements the sprawl, cutting off my ability to get a grip of him, and at his will, puts me back on the mat. I try to take Jens down, but he immediately gets the dominant position. Back up, and straight back down. Despite my best efforts not to get panic, I'm taking short, desperate breaths, and I'm losing composure.
Breathe, man, breathe. Put your back on the ground and turn, other way.
Jens gets in full mount and starts to execute what's called the bicep crush.
10 seconds.
I'm frantically trying to get free.
Time.
Oh, no, there's my bicep.
So for 2 rounds, Jens handed my butt to me. And let's not forget that in a real MMA fight, I'd have to deal with the grappling and the striking all at once.
So my face is exposed, but he's only allowed to wrestle me that round.
Yeah.
Whereas normally, you're just pounding my face
Exactly.
as I'm stuck in the same position for 15, 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Like a rabbit caught in a trap in a snare. You start to squeeze. It just gets tighter and tighter and tighter. My job when I get in those positions, go here, sit, get heavy, and let you do the panicking, let you do the opening. I want me to capitalize.
And panic, I did. The continued strength effort and trying to consciously assess every movement that I made was like a chaotic, exhausting game of chess. Although I was completely manhandled, I was pretty stoked with my efforts for a first-timer, and the best thing, I protected my liver.
You protected the liver. They told you about that.
And all in all, my MMA experience was one I'll never forget.